how about you start with you just letting us know how it all began for you?
Thanks for having me. Just, normal kid, man, growing up in Saginaw, Michigan, born 1973, July 23rd, 1973. Mom was a school teacher. My dad worked at General Motors, former Air Force vet. Just growing up with structure. My parents both made a solid income. We're middle class, I'd say lower middle class. But that changed quickly when layoffs started to happen as we moved into the 80s. Cocaine started infiltrating our neighborhood. Crack hit, I'd say around 85, 12, 13 years old. I think I was 13, and it really became prevalent in our community. I just watched our community go from a village, from a community to a village to a neighborhood to just a hood, and it was sad. You know what I mean? And I know people saw people growing up who were hard-working U.S. taxpaying citizens, having a good life, working really good jobs, making really good salaries, get addicted to that substance and really just basically fall off a cliff. Within 2 or 3 months, they've lost everything. Wow, and it was everything was just sent them to jail. No help with addiction, no help with educating the people who were seeing this every day. It was just lock them up. So going through all of that, really just open your eyes to what's really going on in society and get numb to it. For someone else that's not in that environment, it may look like a horror movie, but when you're in it and you're living it, it's like, it's normal. It doesn't rattle you one bit. Life is like sports. God is the owner of the team. Your parents are like your coaches, your uncles, all the adults in your life that's leading you and trying to lead you in the right direction. Those are like your coaches, and your siblings and your friends and everybody are like your teammates.
Right.
And so sometimes you have good coaches, sometimes you have bad coaches. Sometimes you have good teammates, okay, average teammates. Sometimes you have horrible teammates, sometimes you have great teammates. So
right.
it applies to life.
And obviously with drug use and a lot of adversity comes violence oftentimes. And for those in the game and for those not in the game, can you share your story a little bit about how it impacted you ultimately and the adversity you faced?
For sure, man. I can remember one time at school, my junior high, a bunch of friends, trying their hand, and like we say, you're born into sometimes some bad coaches, and parents going through whatever they're going through, and don't have enough to give you, just only enough money to barely pay bills and whatnot. Kids see other kids with clothes and sneakers and whatnot on. You want that, it goes from toys to fashion to cars and jewelry, and then, with more money, you start buying more weaponry. Mm-hmm. And then now it goes from fist fights to sometimes knife fights to now it's all out gunfire, you know what I mean? So a lot, man. I myself, riding home from picking up a pizza with my big brother, 14 years old, April 5th, 1988. On the weekends, people cruise and hang out and do different things, play music loud, all the young fun stuff. And there were some guys in the back of the parking lot. We got to shoot, and the shootout that started happening. As we're turning, get all the way to the far lanes, a three-lane road, about to make a left, and this guy just running towards the car, shooting backwards stuff, trying to get to these bushes that was on the other side of the street for cover. And as I'm looking and I'm seeing him shoot, I go to just turn my head, and the bullet hit me in the right jaw, ricocheted off my jawbone, and they had to take it out the left side of my neck. And so I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks. My brother was driving, took me home, ended up getting to the hospital. It was crazy.
Just listening to you describe that moment, it's almost like it just happened yesterday.
Oh, for sure. That stays with you.
And so do you think that moment it almost shaped you to getting kind of where you are today?
Totally. It made me numb in a sense. And then especially, there was a lot of shootings that summer. Summer 88, Saginaw, Michigan, because up until that point, I say from about 85 to 87, people was just getting money. You know, it wasn't a lot of violence. And then once it started to swell,
The money's getting
the
bigger.
money's getting bigger,
Stakes are getting
more
higher.
people, you know, and you had a bunch of functional addicts. And I mean, it was people working in the plants that were users. And so they're getting paid every week. So in some cases every other week. And going into the weekend, they're getting their fix to go party, to do whatever. And, you know, they're functional addicts. And so they got a constant stream of income to pay for this stuff. And so that summer, man, it got crazy just out of nowhere, man. I got shot, a bunch of my friends got shot, people got killed. I say from 88 to all the way to now. I mean, it sparked something that even to this day is like, I go back home, it's nothing like when I grew up there.
You know, a lot of the youth we serve, ultimately, when you say that you kind of got a little numb after that incident, and Dr. Curry talks about this all the time, about that being a brain response to trauma and a survival mechanism to be like disassociative. When you look back on that, did that numbness help you? Did it ultimately hurt you? Is that something that in the moment just was what it was, and now you look back on it and you think, was that like a coping mechanism?
It was happening so much. It's like, you know, it's like someone skateboarding and just wipes out, right? But it's happening like 3, 5, 10 times a weekend or something like that, you know? And so now, you know, 2 months, 3 months later, if it's still happening like that, you know, oh man, this someone else just fell off the skateboard.
Right.
Maybe, yeah, that's unfortunate, but it's like, it was like that with the drugs and the shooting. And it really hit home. I had my god brother, man, Shaka Yule, he got killed in 1990, summer of 1990. I was a pallbearer, 16 years old, pallbearer. It's crazy. When you got a 16-year-old in a box being carried by 6 16-year-olds, 15, one 17. And it's the first time I ever saw my dad cry at that funeral because, like you said, you know, he had gone through some stuff growing up. We grew up together in the church. Our families were close. And he spent a night at my house. I spent a night at his house. Spent a night at each other's grandmother's house, just growing up playing, just having fun. And just things took a turn at a certain point, and then he ended up being murdered, like not long after I got off the phone with him. And so that one rocked.
It's almost like maybe it hit your dad hard because he could have almost saw you in that box too.
I had to get shot.
Yeah.
I got shot first.
Yeah.
I had a whole bunch of friends that ended up murdered and shot, and all this other stuff. But I want to say I may have been the first one that kind of was. I was the first one amongst all of us and then it just started happening like that. I mean, I'm talking about going to high school, someone's desk is empty. You come the second day, it's empty. Come the third day, and it's like, damn, where Elton at, man? Elton Simmons? He got murdered 2 nights ago. I was just like, damn. Antoine Moses, Vincent Calhoun, Shaka Yule, rocking up all that. I'm looking around like, damn, all these people getting killed, man. Like, damn,
Could have been you.
on? Yeah. And then the way I got hit and the trajectory of the bullet and the way everything went, it's like, I'm like, damn, man, I just felt, by the time I was in high school, and that was a big reason why, not only because I saw my father and what it did for him and my uncles, the military, I just wanted to get the hell away from there, man. I wanted to get as far away from there as possible. Even when going to junior college, I was in Southern Colorado, and then ultimately I chose Texas Tech, which is on the other side of the country in West Texas. I just wanted to get away from that environment, but then you grow up, and I'm going to college with guys from Dallas and Houston, going to junior college with guys from Denver and all this other. It's happening everywhere. Right. You think it's just your city and your little pocket of the world.
Because now you're connecting with them, hearing their story, telling your story.
Absolutely.
And you're like, man, we're products of a lot of the same issue.
Absolutely.
These are systemic.
Right. So
it's prevalent.
Yeah.
How do you, it's almost like a normalization of chaos.
Totally.
And disruption.
Totally.
Right. But as we talked about earlier too, those things start to become normalized.
Totally.
When you stay in that environment,
right,
and you see it all the time, you're like, oh, this is just what happens here.
Right.
Right. How do we how do we create, in your opinion, how do we create a system of change?
I think you have to start with mental health, because I got to the point where I realized I have PTSD from all of that. And you compartmentalize it and store it somewhere in your brain, but you don't flush it out. And we gotta let our kids know it's all right to cry. It's all right to feel pain, but it's how you handle it that determines whether, you're gonna grow from it or make situations even worse by lashing out because of it.
Even the idea, like you're talking about, one thing we live by is a formula.
Yeah.
Visibility plus accessibility equals opportunity.
Absolutely. I mean, just stuff like that.
Fun and engaging.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
I think we get to this point in life, especially those of us who ascend to where a higher space was perceived as being a higher space in terms of visibility, finance and whatnot. And we just want to money. How do I make more money? How do I rub elbows with the people? As opposed to going back, even if you're not from there, allowing yourself to be accessible for people who've gone through tough times and are in these tough communities, and letting them know that, giving them the type of tools to be able to navigate that stuff so they can have an opportunity to achieve the highest of heights. And you're able to give your time, and that's just as important, if not more important, where they see your face, they can touch you, they can talk to you, you can share your life experience, and they realize, like, damn, Darvin grew up kind of like I'm growing up.
Right.
Or this happened to him, and he still made it, I could make it.
Right.
Yeah, that's well said, Coach. And we talked earlier too, just about you coming back and having a ton of different opportunities, but you chose to come back here to Milwaukee.
For sure.
Right. And so, as we close out, what exactly brought you back here? What's your hope for the future for the city of Milwaukee?
Man, just my love for the city. Ultimately, I was allowed to come back here, go to work again, and she know what this city means to me, and my whole family does. The players, the front office, the ownership, Doc, getting the opportunity to work for Doc, it's cool. He's a Hall of Fame coach, well-traveled, played the game at a high level, coached the game at the highest level. So just to learn from him and the other coaches I'm gonna be working with as well. And to reunite with my players like Brooke, Bobby, all those guys, Chris, Pat, Giannis, obviously, it's a dream come true. And my son is working for the team now as well, so full-time player development coach, yeah. And so, but the city itself, just the heart and soul of the city, come around, people acknowledge you, they don't bother you, they acknowledge you, say what's up, really appreciate, man. And in life, you want to be places where you appreciate it and not just tolerate it. You know what I'm saying? Like this city has a deep appreciation for me, and I have an appreciation for it. And just want to use my resources and my travels to be able to help as much as I can. Things I've learned from coaching, playing, interacting through my nonprofit, interacting when I go do philanthropic work with the NBA in the summertime, Basketball Without Borders, Sports United, those type of things, that platforms that the NBA provides in the summertime in different countries. Sometimes, first world countries, sometimes third world countries, and everything in between. And so to be able to have all of that, experience all of that, be in a tight-knit community, it has its own issues that, that are daunting, but yet still solvable with the work of people such as yourself. I just want to put my 2 cents in and make my contribution.
Well, you've helped us and made a great contribution spending some time with STRYV365, Dr. Curry and I, and ultimately, we really appreciate you and look forward to opening this chapter of supporting each other, just like you said, figuring out ways to empower those that need the toolbox to be resilient. And you really embody that, and we just appreciate you and look forward to the future.
Oh, I appreciate you guys, man. Thanks again for having me, and anytime you need me, feel free to tap in.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks.